Question isn't why should I hire you instead of this other guy? Like that changed a while ago. The question is now, why should I hire you when I have Claude? Right? I have an AI that I can do an awful lot of stuff here, right? And that's the bigger piece that the job seekers right now are up against. It's not only that is there a lack of hiring that's going on as far as jobs, but it's also who are you competing with. And I think again, we talk on this channel a lot about business. Obviously, it's a small business piece here, but it's also the understanding and shift mentality that job seekers have to go through right now because businesses are they're figuring it out on the fly. And the same thing has to go with the job seekers, folks who are looking for jobs. That not only has the dynamic changed as far as work from home, work in the office, the new technology you have, the competition has never been more fierce because you're up against something that now can recode itself and readjust. But on the flip side of that, businesses, they're absolutely making some short term decisions. We've talked about that before, where there's a large number of businesses who have integrated AI now regret it because they've lost the people side, right? And that's what I want to talk to here about when we get into this article from Inc.com. That for right now, you need to be able to answer the question, why should I hire you? AI is good enough. And that's a big part of what you're up against. So, again, let's get into this here again. For those that don't know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach that works out of West Michigan and around the country. I come here live on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, sharing information I share with my clients. And I hope to earn your subscription. So, this article from Inc.com, go ahead and check it out down there. As always, we want you to go visit the articles. The folks do a great job writing these, so we want to make sure they get their clicks. All right. So, let's talk about why job seekers can't get jobs. This is something everyone is aware of this and we talk about it and it's there. But yeah, folks right now, especially business owners, they're not trying to rock the boat too much because they're really comfortable with what they currently have. And before they bring new people on, one of the things that I've heard before, I had an owner mention to me before, and it was yesterday on a call. It's like, yeah, I mean, I have AI. I'm do a lot of my stuff because AI doesn't go to HR. I'm never going to forget that line. That's embedded in here now. And that's one of the concerns that they have. So not that there's anything bad, but it's just, hey, it's one less issue I have to deal with. I think is the better way to phrase that. All right. Let's get into this here. Let's go through some facts here. Unemployment is still way down. That is correct. The unemployment levels are down, but mostly it's because there aren't a lot of the people. There are not as many people in the labor force. That's going to continue to change. That's shifting. And I've talked before about on the program, we're going to see unemployment tick back up as people have burned through the last of their reserves and their credit that they have and eventually have to get more work. You're going to start seeing the numbers coming up because more people will be looking. It's never been easier to find a job. So that's not even close to true. It's not. There's for every job ad we've covered, it's thousands of people are applying, but in reality, there are between 10 and 20 highly qualified candidates for every position right now once you filter everything down. So that wasn't the case 5 years ago. It's just the nature of the beast. AI can do it 100%, and then this trade war stuff or whatever like that. It is what it is. The trade war isn't over. It's one thing I just wanted to let folks know, it's not over. Just because we are talking to folks doesn't mean that anything's been fixed. We still got a lot of stuff going on there. So there's a lot of stuff you hear, and they talk about this in here I want to get. So while it's never been easier to find a job, it's never been harder to get the job, like the one you want, the one you are qualified for and you want to have. And I love this title, and it was pretty funny. I've always just kind of cringed at this a little bit. Do what you love and the money will follow. Not always. Not always. There's people love to do a lot of stuff and there isn't money there. But the thing is, you can find a job, but not the one that you necessarily love. Okay. And that's kind of where we're at here. But what's going on with this? Well, this is the piece. The talent pipeline is jammed. We talked about that before, about the number of folks that are in there. And this individual says they've been screaming for months about how broken hiring is and every facet of the job doesn't exist. It's useless to useless AI screening. And then recruiters are overwhelmed. I've not written, well, come on, use the word, man. I have written on multiple occasions and talked about the fact, the applicant tracking systems like on Indeed are so garbage. They incentivize the wrong behavior for businesses and for employees. They make it easier to filter people. They don't make it more effective to find the right people. If that makes sense, right? And then recruiters are just overwhelmed. And it's really just it's so hard to find the right people, but also through all the fluff. But even then, you've got any number of people. So you that are qualified, right? It's hard to find the right people. You get let's say 5 to 10, let's say 5 to 10 candidates that are now qualified once you've sifted through them. If they haven't been hired by someone else, you now have 5 to 10 to choose from. You then get the opportunity to say, wait a minute, why am I paying these guys more when I've got this multitude here? So we're not seeing wages increase too, which is another piece that the job owner or the job seekers are up against as well. So when humans are in the hiring process are relegated to doing nothing more than double checking the work of technology, those humans go straight into CYA mode, right? Cover your rear. And thus hiring looks less like a talent pipeline and more like a game of musical chairs. In honest moments, recruiters and HR talent acquirers have told me that when presented with a pre-screened stack of candidates, the safest thing to do is to flag the ones who are coming from companies that everyone knows. They're not hiring for success. They're hiring to maintain the status quo. That's really the crux of this here right now, of the entire like thing I'm talking about here is we have folks right now, they are hiring specifically to not mess up what they currently have. And that's okay. I'm not against that. When in reality, what you want, for in the short term, but in the long term, what you want for a growing company, a company that's going to be able to adapt and change over time, is you want to hire for more, basically better fit, higher qualifications, so that you can bring in different clients, do better work, whatever the reasons are for growth that you're going to have. But instead of taking the risk on, again, those high value players, because they job hop, people say, no, I'm going to take a B player, and they're going to be happy being here. Where you're going to have the folks that are talented are going to be, going to command more money, more time, a little bit more effort. But the question always comes back to, well, okay, well, why am I going to hire a B player if I can just have Claude do it? And that's where we're at here, folks. The vast majority of us here, we're B and C players in any given organization. Your job right now as an employee, again, as someone looking for work, is to be able to answer the question from the thumbnail. Why would we hire you? AI is good enough to do the vast majority of your work. And that's the issue. Now, there's underlying problems with that, which are covered in the article. Again, go check out links in the description, which is bringing in AI is a short-term problem. It doesn't fix the overall underlying issues of whatever your culture is in your company, reasons that the higher level talent won't stick around. Like that has to be done. And that's what I do. And I help clients with people that work with me. We build those strong company cultures that not only attract high level talent, but it retains them, keeps them around. But you need to be, as the B and C players, right? The employees, the folks that are never the high value, not the high value folks there. And I'm talking about that 2 to 3% in a company. We have to justify why you wouldn't want to replace this with AI. And the reason comes down to, and this is what I want to arm you with right now, is that the vast majority of employees are there to support the executive teams, their bosses and everything up, to be and support customers. What I tell everyone is like, yes, you absolutely can replace some of my functions with AI, what I do. But when you bring me on, and this is advice for anybody who's looking for work, but when you bring me on, I add that extra layer of experience, knowledge, and functionality to AI, to those large language models. So when you come to me and you have a question, right, rather than going into our local AI, whatever happens to be, I always use Claude, but Copilot, Grok, whatever, Chat GPT. What I do is I help leverage that tool along with the experience that we have to then provide you with options in the same way, rather than you having to go do it yourself. You're coming to me. I have my experience. I can pull better questions to be able to then use my experience along with AI to make it better. And that's really where you got to be at with this, folks. Say, because again, behind the curtain, when I'm talking to business owners, and this is just, inside baseball stuff, that question of good enough, of why comes up a lot. I mean, it's almost every conversation now when it comes to administrative work, creative work, um, work that requires any sort of copywriting, you name it, process improvement, you name it. It's always comes down to why am I bringing someone in if on a long term, basically as an employee, when I can figure out a way to do these processes, automate them, I can make more assistants, you know, to be able to do the 90% work that I have an assistant for. So, and I don't have an answer for you personally. Like that's the thing here. And this comes down to every individual. I don't have the answer for you. For the businesses, I continue to push like, listen, we don't want to remove the human element from this. That's important. We want to keep people around. We want to be able to train people to use the large language models and AI to help them be even more effective and produce better high quality work for sure. But removing them is an issue because end of the day, when you're talking about dealing with people, customers and clients and stuff, we want to make sure that that human connection is there because that's where most of the business comes from. Okay. So again, long story short here is that when it comes to hiring right now, and if you're looking out in the world here, the best thing I can tell you is I want you as an employee, as someone who's looking for work, someone, and you're going into work in a place that's like this, where the job is going to be relegated and have some sort of AI. I want you spending 30 minutes a day learning large language models, understanding prompts, understanding what they can do, to whatever level you feel you need to get to. So when you go in for an interview, you can answer that question. Why would I hire you when, AI is enough, is more than good enough for what I need? And I want you to be able to answer that question truthfully, but it makes you better at your work if you understand those things. Okay. So this is really where we're at. Not only are the jobs, and not only are there jobs, but there's a ton of people qualified for every job. So it's difficult to get hired. But you're also got to remember the paradigm is shift. You are not competing against other people. The first, the first question is, and the first thing you need to remember is you are competing against AI in the mind of a business owner. So you have to be able to talk about your value proposition against AI. Once you get past that hurdle, then the conversation is about, hey, here's why I'm the better choice amongst the human competitors. Okay. So again, if you'd like to learn more about how I help businesses grow faster than you ever thought possible, and if you'd like to learn more about the again the value that your business has, because I do help businesses that are looking to sell, go ahead and check out summitbusinessguys.com. There's a link to the Value Builder score assessment, which is in the description. Please go check that out if you're interested in learning about, hey, what the value of your current business is, and we can go from there. All right, take care. I'll see you next time.